Hey everyone, it's your favorite host and gentleman, Marcus of Gentleman Style Podcast Show. And today I am proud to present this Speaker of the House. This is unique and this is going to be jam-packed. This man needs no introduction, but he's going to get one. Anyway, Mr. Neil Dudley, I'm so excited to have a Texas gentleman, a wholesome gentleman, a man of mans here on the Gentleman Style Podcast Show today. You guys don't want to miss 1 second of what we're going to talk about, the cowboy perspective. Keep that in mind. Just say it because you're going to hear it all throughout this show. Stay tuned. Stay with us. Here we go. Good morning, family. Yeah, I'm your host, Marcus of Gentleman Style Podcast Show, and I have coming to the stage Mr. Neil Dudley. He's a Texas gentleman, man above mans, who believes in hard work with a little fun thrown in every now and again from a cowboy perspective. Today, his day consists, he's the big CEO founder of Pederson's Farms and vice president. But most importantly, he loves his favorite job, which is loving on his wife and 3 young daughters and throwing in some cowboy stuff along the way. This man's story is phenomenal. We're going to dive deep today and talk about what he does from a cowboy perspective, what's it like, and how that has shaped him as a man and in life. Help me welcome to the stage, Neil Dudley.
Howdy, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Marcus. I'm super pumped about being on the stage, man. You make me feel like I'm really stepping into an important position here. So I'm looking forward to it.
This is important. What you do is important, sir. You keep America running with our most favorite pastime, meat. And more importantly, bacon. My favorite go-to breakfast, lunch, dinner. You can have it anytime. But sir, tell us I want to hear it from the gentleman himself. What does Pederson's Farm do? And how long has you been doing this? What got you started in this?
Well, I don't know. This story could go for a long time, so I'm going to try to make it short. I've been doing this for 20 years. Pederson's has been in business for 30 years. And the fact is, we were early to the game in the better for you niche. So we started working with Whole Foods in the early years. We've kind of built our brand around retail partners like Whole Foods, Sprouts, natural grocers, people that were really servicing men and women who were looking to eat more healthy, or to think about their food in a different way, or to have more really just understanding of where your food comes from. I mean, you're putting up the website there. You can go buy our products. We'll ship them straight to you, or you can learn about our business. And another great place to learn more about Pederson's is the podcast we do, the podcast.pedersonsfarms.com. I might have forgot to give that one to you, Marcus. So I just thought, anyways. Oh, and by the way, you're impressive. Like, you're doing so much on that side of the thing. Like, I do a podcast. I don't do nearly that much. You're paying attention to so many things. So everybody, you got to really give Marcus props for the thing he does here, because what he does, it's not as easy as he makes it look.
Thank you. Thank you for the compliment, sir. I appreciate that, Mr. Dudley. And it's huge, right? Being a man, the day in and day out grind is challenging at times. There are days, you feel like you don't want to get up. There are days you feel like you don't want to get out of bed, but you do it anyway, right? You make it happen every single day. What's it like to what's the process? There's something unique that you do with bacon specifically, because traditionally farming has a negative stigma on how they treat their animals, but you actually, there's several humane ways to do about it. Can you share some of those nuggets?
Yes. I think that's the most valuable piece of the conversation right now is farming and ranching has a particularly negative connotation with a lot of people. And to me, it never had a negative connotation. It's my life. It's my way of life. It's how my family made a living. It's how really everything I ever thought about revolved around farming and ranching and animals. So that's really crazy to me that somebody would even have a negative connotation, because I never experienced that. And I think it's really valuable for us all to think about that truth, just because that's my experience, my perspective, my thought process. Well, I don't know about, I say this all the time, I don't know what skateboarding is like. I never did it. I mean, it's impossible for me to really know that culture and the truth of it. I've watched Tony Hawk, I've watched the X Games, so I've got this very top level understanding of what they do. And if I don't watch it, I will make very big assumptions based on that. And I think people make that about farming and ranching too. They have a really top level, very shallow understanding of what we do. And you also have groups out there that are trying to abolish animal agriculture. And that's kind of fine. I mean, you kind of need to have that side of the coin to hold animal agriculture accountable, to make sure we're telling our story and being transparent and giving people the opportunity to understand where their food comes from. So they really skew everybody's understanding of what we're really all about through showing videos of animals being abused. And it happens. Look, I'm not here to say I'm perfect. Any company is perfect. We're not. We're all trying to get better each and every day, and we all fail. I mean, just think about it with your dog or your family. Like, sometimes you're an a-hole to them. Like, just, it's unfortunate. Even the best men, the best intentions, you had a bad day or you stumped your toe, and then they just did something that got under your skin, and you react to that in a way that you wish you hadn't, and you just have to own and say, we did it. So it is true. You will find animals in bad housing conditions, being treated poorly. It is possible to find that. I've done that. I'm not proud of it, but it has to be an honest conversation. And yes, I've hit a calf with a stick harder than should have, and just out of frustration and immaturity and all these things that I had to grow up, had to be taught. That's where the cowboy perspective comes from. My mom, my dad, my family, my uncles, my brother, my cousins, they all had to pour into me. Heck, my family at church has to pour into me to make me be better, hold me accountable, say, Neil, now is that really how you want to represent this gift God has given you? And then I have to step back and think, well, probably not. So the idea that there are no mistakes, to me, is false, right? I mean, mistakes are going to happen a lot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Neil, Mr. Dudley, I have your website up here. It's very well designed. The meat looks delicious. Tell us, what sets the meat apart? What makes it so good? Because you're not just local to Texas. You ship worldwide. What sets your meat apart from everyone else?
Marcus, thanks for bringing me back, right? Because I just get on tangents. I mean, I got way off the topic of what sets our meat apart, which is the very first question you asked me. It really is quality. We're a vertically integrated company, so we raise our own animals. We are third-party verified, humanely raised. And if you eat our products, you know the animals have been treated right, and the ingredients are minimal. We don't put a lot of ingredients in it. Bacon, for example, it's one of the things that we're really famous for. And we don't do a few things that a lot of our competition does. So we will not put needle injection into our bacon. We all do it in a vacuum tumbler. That's a really different way of doing things. And in our mind, it's allowing the meat to soak up the brine instead of forcing the meat to take the brine. So it's kind of a foo-foo way of thinking about it, but really, to me, that yields a better product. And it's the people. It's all these people that work at Pederson's that love what we do and understand this is going to be food for other humans that we care about and want to. I mean, we feed this to our own families. So we just put a lot of special attention to making it the very best it can be. And it really all starts with the animals and the people.
Sense. Makes perfect sense. So this is your delivery time. So because you ship everywhere except Hawaii and Alaska, you ship. This is pretty fast to me, right? If I order on Monday, I can get my meat by Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's this? That's what kind of flavors? Are there different varieties of meat or pork that I can get?
Yeah. Well, on the website, we have ground beef. So we have some beef. We have turkey bacon. There's turkey options. We have applewood smoked bacon, no sugar bacon, what really kind of took our company off. So over 20 years, we've been kind of growing. I don't know if everybody's going to be able to see this video, but I'm taking my hand and I'm just saying, kind of a little steady growth, and then bam, like we hockey stick up, then we steady growth again. And part of that was coming up and realizing no sugar was a really important niche for us to go play in. People were looking to eliminate sugar from their diet, and most processed meats, bacon, sausage, has sugar in it. Well, we've played the role of the kind of leader within that group to say, okay, we're getting sugar out of everything. So we've got options: no sugar smoked sausage, no sugar bacon, no sugar turkey bacon. That just gives those people that are looking for that a place to go.
No sugar turkey bacon? You're breaking my heart. But oh man. Okay. Again, it looks delicious. I gotta try some. I'm definitely gonna try some. This is the beauty of having a podcast, y'all. You get to enjoy what your guest offers, and I get to go back and watch this and enjoy it and experience it.
Hey man, you're gonna do more than that, because every time I get on a podcast or I have a guest, I send them some product. So you're gonna be eating this stuff shortly after we get done here. I'm gonna send you some.
What? Mr. Neil Dudley, y'all. We have a quick commercial break. You guys stay tuned. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Support for Gentleman Style Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped offers you precision engineering tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off free worldwide shipping with the code GENTSTYLE at manscaped.com.
Good day, podcast listeners. This is your boy, Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I wanted to let you guys know that we will be rolling out a new feature and adding a join sponsor button next to the subscriber button here at the bottom of your screen. Once you click the button, it will display 3 membership levels: Gentleman Gentry, which is our entry level; Duke Duchess, which is our season level; and the Emperor and Empress, which is our most sophisticated level, which you will receive unique perks and benefits at each differing level and gain access to our community tab. We will also be sharing polls, upcoming events, and interviews, as well as receive feedback from our sponsors directly. Your support helps me find new and exciting guests to bring to the stage live. Well, in order to get the higher end speakers, it requires, you guessed it, money. So thank you for tuning in to my channel. And if becoming a sponsor sounds good to you, then select the join button below and choose your desired sponsor level. Let's continue to grow and serve the future of generations of men and women to come. Love you guys. Bye.
We are back to the incredible Mr. Neil Dudley, breaking down what's it like, his delicious, beautiful meat at Pederson's farm in Texas, the best meat in town that you're gonna get on this side of the United States. You know everything's better in Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas. So you gotta try. You gotta check him out. This is phenomenal, Mr. Dudley, sir. You have a podcast called The Cowboy's Perspective. What got you started? What got the wheels turning on that to start that podcast? With everything you do so much already. What inspired this?
Well, okay, cool. I'm going to come to that, but just seeing that Manscaped commercial makes me, I have to tell this story. I needed the lawnmower 4.0 the other day. So believe it or not, I got bit by a rattlesnake.
Ouch.
Last Monday. And luckily it was one thing. It was all a stupid decision on my part. If you want to hear the full story, you can go listen to the episode I'm about to release on the Cowboy Perspective. That'll get us back to the podcast. But the reason I'm so proud of Manscaped and the Lawnmower 4.0 is, I've got a hernia also from working out, from CrossFit. And I needed somebody to look at that. Well, I got rattlesnake bit. I was in an emergency room. There was a surgeon came by, and they were talking about keeping me a little bit longer. And I said, no, I have to get out because I've got an appointment to get my hernia looked at. Well, the surgeon said, well, let me look at it. Luckily, I had done some manscaping, and all that was good to go, So Manscaped, Lawnmower 4.0, that was a good one. I just thought, man, I got to tell this story because it just fits so well with the sponsor of the show.
That was not planned, y'all. That was not planned. That was good. That was inspiring. That makes men take care of yourselves, right? Take care.
Yeah,
you never know.
That's a real life explanation of the importance of those things and what you will need in times you don't particularly expect. So really, that's just my story. And I thought, man, that's a cool little analogy to why that ad is valuable. Go buy that thing. Like now you have a realization of there's a reason you will need that. It's not just so Manscaped can make more money. It's going to be valuable to you.
Right. Stay clean. So Cowboy Perspective. Yes, sir. How did that come about? What inspired that? I hope it was. How's the rattlesnake bite, by the way? Are you okay?
All good. I'm 100%. Like I said, I was very lucky. It wasn't bad. And it was some poor decision making on my part, which is probably not really needed. Like pretty obvious. If you get bit by a snake, you're probably making some bad decisions. So, but the Cowboy Perspective, this podcasting in general, really came from me. I have about a 30-minute commute each and every day from where I live to the plant where we make the bacon. And I just got into listening to this guy named Gary Vaynerchuk. And he's kind of an entrepreneur, self-help, built a big business called Wine Library, into social media. He's been an angel investor in some of these big Silicon Valley businesses. And he said, if you're not doing a podcast, you're behind. So I drove straight to the office, bought the equipment, started a podcast. And I just think, okay, so what's a topic? What's something I understand and know very well? It happens to be the Cowboy Perspective. Just I can't help but know that. It's my life. It's where I come from. And I thought, well, that's going to be the thing I can talk about. And I knew I could get the guests because most of them are my family, right? So I knew early on I could get my dad to come talk. I could get some friends that are cowboys that are mentors to me to come talk. Because, most of the time you say, hey, I'm starting a podcast. People kind of think you're a little crazy. Hey, will you come be on my podcast? Well, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. It means we're going to talk. I'm going to ask you some questions. You answer them. It's just going to be a conversation around the things we live and breathe. That's how it started. Gary Vaynerchuk said you should start a podcast. I did it. I did it wrong. I did it all wrong. I mean, I bought the wrong mics. I bought the wrong recorders. Like I just didn't know what I was doing, but I was doing something. Like part of the Cowboy Perspective is like get on the horse and ride. Like don't worry all so much about is it going to be perfect? Do I know everything about what I'm going to do? Failure is only experience. And that's how I look at it anyways. I would encourage your listeners to look at it. Like, don't take failure. It's almost, you should be trying to do things that push you so hard that you will fail, or you're not really trying. You're just staying safe.
So true. That's so true. Many of life's lessons are best learned. If you're not failing, you're not learning, right? No one's perfect, and no one's gonna, you shouldn't go in with a mindset like, I gotta do this perfect, because not everything is gonna be perfect. That is such a good perspective. That's
compete, get in the game. I mean, it just happened in the Kentucky Derby. We're recording this. The Kentucky Derby happened this weekend. The 80-1 long shot won the race. Like, wasn't even in the game until the week before and ended up winning it. That's why you got to get in the game, folks. Don't watch. If you get a chance, get in the game.
What are some other life lessons? Because you've interviewed numerous guests, like Mr. Jim Sharp. What are some other life lessons you all have shared and learned from being a cowboy?
One of the ones, and this may not really be an exact answer to your question, but this is a thing I really glean from all of these conversations, is we all have our own journey to walk, to live, to experience. Comparison is the worst thing you can do. Like, you can't think, because it limits you. First thing, if you compare yourself to anybody, let's say if I'm a podcast host partially, and I compare myself to Joe Rogan, then first off, why? We're very different people. We're going to talk to very different people, and we have a different expectation from what we're doing. And then I might also limit myself to think, well, if I'm as good as Joe Rogan, that might be the best I can be. Well, I might actually be 10 times better than Joe Rogan when things line up and happen. If I'm just being a genuine kind of loving person that just wants others to learn, help, get a different perspective. Look, I'm not famous. Everybody knows that. Your whole audience is looking at me thinking, where did this guy come from? I'm not. Fame is not required to be valuable. And I think Americans, we all have to think about that a little bit. Like, the idea that the famous people have it more together than us, I would say most times they have it less together. And that's just illustrated by the people I've had on my show. If you look to your close network, they can teach you and help you with anything and everything you need. You just have to give them the chance. You have to ask. And man, I'll ramble about this kind of stuff all day long because I'm passionate about it. I want you, if you're listening, I want you to get out of that record player terrible mindset thinking you're compared to somebody else. No, stop limiting yourself that way. Start being the best you can be. Do those things you're excited about, and you will win. And when you fail, love that. Like, that's the opportunity to be better.
True. How do you balance family while running your farm, podcasting, employees, staff, payroll? How do you find time for family?
Yeah, it's hard. Like, you have to prioritize that. And I don't do it great. I mean, my kids will tell you, just over Mother's Day weekend, my kids are like getting on to me for being on social media too much. And I want to argue with them. I want to tell them, no, I'm not. But the fact is, when I'm with them, they feel that way. And I need to hear that. And I need to own that and allow that that's a truth. That, hey, my kids think I care more about Facebook or Instagram or TikTok than them. Now I'm doing it. I'm on those platforms as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, as somebody who is trying to get the word out about the things I do, whatever company I might be just talking about or trying to promote. Social media happens to be I would argue, almost the only place you can go to get attention, to tell the world about what you're doing. I mean, TV, maybe a little bit, Hulu, maybe a little bit, but social media is a place that you can go really reach out and tell your story. But that's part of the family dynamic we have, right? My kids feel that way, so I'm trying to correct that a little bit. Intentionally come home, put the phone up in the cabinet, forget about it until they go to bed and just stay engaged with them, play games, like practice their things that they're excited about, practice the things that they feel are difficult. I've got one daughter that's not reading great. We need to practice reading. I've got another daughter that's playing basketball. She needs to get better at dribbling. We need to I read a study once, a dad, now this is a challenge to everybody. I think dads are disappearing in our world in a little bit, and dads need to come back. We need to stand up. A dad spending 5 minutes with their kid on whatever it is exponentially increases their opportunity or chance of being great at that thing. 5 minutes, that's almost nothing. So I'm trying to deploy that knowledge in my life. Spend 5 minutes doing those things that are either hard for them, that they have low confidence in, or things they just want to be great at.
Man, that is so huge. Thank you for saying that. Round of applause for Mr. Dudley. That is so necessary, right? The time, it's quality time. It's quality time with your children and being intentional, right? And like you said, putting the phone away so that you can genuinely be with them, not just physically, but emotionally. Be there with them. So,
man, I feel like one of your guests was talking about intimacy in a husband and wife relationship. Look, if you're not there, and me and my wife, she'll tell you, I go to bed I lay my head on the pillow, I'm out. She misses that time for us to have a conversation, to just kind of decompress and talk. So I have to work on that too. I get up early, I do workouts, I leave the house. It goes for your wife as well as your friends. This is a key to being a great salesman. Put the phone up, listen to your potential customer, listen to your potential business partners, hear what they're saying to you. Don't be thinking about what you're going to say next. Stop all that noise in your head and just listen to the other people. They will tell you so much. It will be such a advantage to you to understand what they need, what they want, what they're thinking about, what they're worried about, what they're excited about. All those things. Those are keys to business, folks. If you don't already know that, hear me. I promise you, you start figuring out how to do that really well, you're going to be a winner. Man, all the applause. Yes. I'm not, listen, Marcus, none of what I'm saying is news. Everybody knows these things inherently. You know it inherently because it works on you. People have used those tactics on you. This is not something special. I'm only saying it in a way that maybe it happens to filter into the brain and stay there because I need those same things.
We all do. Have you ever gone bull riding?
No, I've never rode bulls. Now I did rodeo professionally for about 10 years. I roped calves. So I was a roper. I would ride a horse, go catch the animal, jump off my horse, go down there and tie him up. So that's what I did. But I never rode bulls. I got on a dummy, like a bucking dummy one time, pulled my hamstring, pulled my groin, got bucked off. I said, that's all I need. I don't need a real animal.
Life lesson learned.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lesson in grit and determination. You said it earlier, do it scared, right? Even though you didn't necessarily have the training or the experience, you still tried. You still moved forward with it. You still went through with it. How does that? That can equate to so many life lessons, right? Do it scared. Go through the fire, and go through the fire anyway, even if you're nervous, even if you're scared.
I learned, those cowboys and cowgirls in my life taught me that. Like, once you get in the pasture and you can't find anybody, like you're working to gather cattle and everybody has to spread out and you're by yourself. You can't holler, Daddy. He can't hear you. He's not coming to help. You have to think, put your mind in gear and decide, okay, how do I get myself out of this? That's one example. And that kind of stuff happened all the time. Another great example of that is And this is just true. Like I want this for parents. I hope every kid has this opportunity. I did a thing I shouldn't do and lied to my parents. Guess what? My mom made me go apologize to that lady in front of everybody. I can remember that like it was yesterday. I was scared, embarrassed, just ashamed. But she made me go do that thing. And afterwards, I was so proud of myself. Actually, not for the bad thing I did. I was accountable for that and I had to pay for that. But for the fact that I owned it, that lady, the second I told her I was sorry and told her the story, she forgave me. Like, stand up, own your messes, own your mistakes. People will forgive you. Now, if you make that same mistake 500 times, they're going to quit forgiving you because they realize you're not actually going to change. If you'll just stand up and say, hey, it's like this humane treatment of animals. Just own it. Yes, man, I failed, and that is bad. That animal did not deserve that. People can understand that because we've all been there, right? It's not like none of us have ever done this thing that we're ashamed of, embarrassed of, wish we hadn't have done. Stand up, own that, do better next time, and the world really has a lot of grace for that kind of stuff.
Does true grace, true genuine, like you said, character, and just learning, not just apologizing a million times and continuing to do the same thing, but learning. You are a better man than me, and I can't imagine that your faith and your grit is tested every single day. I learned a long time ago, I don't have the heart to hurt an animal. I learned that very early on in my life. I was working in a restaurant, and it was a snail. It's a sea slug. It's called conch. And the lady was like, okay, just cut them. We fry them and we put them into little balls, and they taste delicious. So I asked her before I started, I said, are these already deceased? And she said, yes. That was a lie. So, as I'm cutting them into the ball shapes, someone calls me, I get distracted, but I'm holding one in my hand, and it wraps its body around my hand. I was done. I resigned that day.
Right.
So I can't imagine what it takes, what courage it takes to do that every day. But again, you mentioned that earlier. You pray on it, you move through it, and you go through it. And you've been doing, and you are again a 5th generation farmer. So this is the culture that you grew up on.
Yeah, right. I have that unique perspective. I grew up like there were animals in the pasture that I knew I would eat someday. And also faith plays a role in it for me. It's a circle of life. It's God's intended way of, I don't want to disrespect the animals, but I also want to respect them. Taking their death and then using that in the most beautiful way to nourish my body, to help me do the things that I do, to help others, to not be wasteful. All that stuff really ties back to the Bible for me. And also even the story of the shepherd who left the flock to find the one lost sheep. I mean, that's an illustration of how God treats us. He will leave the 99 to come find you. You're that important to him. To me, that's the same thing for real life animals that I am a steward of, that I am responsible for being a caretaker of. God gave us the responsibility of caretaking really this world. And when you if you think about caretaker, what does that mean? Well, you should feel very safe with a caretaker. You should trust them completely. So I take that role. I expect that within animal agriculture. And that's just really hard. I can totally understand that that's going to be a hard thing for a lot of people to get. Like, oh yeah, but you're going to kill them and eat them. That's not taken care of. Well, I think that's just a conversation we have to have and understand and be willing to agree and disagree. I mean, even our races, just looking at you and me, we're different, right? I mean, there's going to be scenarios in which I don't understand things you understand because I can't live that, right? I just can't actually live it. although I can say, man, I love Marcus and I want to hear his perspective, and that's going to help me be better. Oh, by the way, I wanted to ask you, where are you from?
I'm from the Caribbean, a small island called St. Croix.
When you started talking about conch, my wife and I went on our honeymoon in the Bahamas, and so we ate conch fritters and all, and also your accent's a little bit that way. I was like, I bet that Marcus is
well, I am. You caught me red-handed, but not conch-handed. So, right. So, what's the goal? What's the future for Pederson Farms? Pederson's, forgive me.
Oh, sure. Pederson's. Look, and we talked about this a little bit prior to the show. Pederson's. The word is hard to. We probably pronounce it incorrectly. Actually, if you just look at the spelling of it, you potentially say Pederson's. I think there are households all across America where the husband hollers at his wife, "Hey, when you're going to the store, grab some Pederson's. We want to have that for tomorrow at breakfast." Where I'm sitting on, out by the pool, hollering at my wife, "Get the Pederson's. Be sure and pull out Pederson's bacon." So Pederson's. We really don't care what you call our brand, and it is a little bit confusing, but it's ours, and we love it. The future for our brand is just improvement. It's no special big vision, right? We have a few core expectations within our business, and that is lean forward. If you're not growing, you're dying. So we try to always be leaning forward with our business. Look to do a thing that is keeping the business growing. And then there are also some kind of holdbacks from that. I really thrive in a smaller company. As if you're leaning forward and you're always growing, you ultimately grow. Now we're up to 100 employees. And, when I first started, there were 8 of us. So you eventually start getting into these problems that bigger companies have with being nimble, with even just human resources, a lot of stuff that starts really needing to be paid really close attention to in bigger companies that maybe when you're smaller, you're just all together all the time. So you're doing it daily. But that's it. Get better, pay attention to the world because it's changing so quickly. Pay attention to customers, consumers. The people that actually keep us in business are your listeners, people that eat Pederson's products. If we're not solving for the things you want and you guys like to eat, we'll be out of business because the capitalist economy will not reward somebody that's not providing a solution to the consumers. So there's no big, huge vision. Keep each and every day trying to get a little better.
Very true. You have been phenomenal, Mr. Dudley. I thank you for taking the time out to be with me and give back in this way, sir. This is incredible. Sir, how can we connect? How can we learn more? How can we grow with you?
Okay. Before I leave, before we get to that, I want to say one thing to all the gentlemen out there. Open the door for the ladies. When you meet them, take your hat off. There's a couple of very small, respectful things you can do there it tells the men around you, you're somebody to be reckoned with. It tells the women, you respect them, they can feel safe. It's 2 small things. Just do those things. And there's a million other things. I'm sure Marcus talks about all that. But from a cowboy's perspective, my grandmother, she wanted me to do those things. My mom wanted me to do those things. My dad expected me to do those things. So they come natural to me. And it sets me apart from my competition in the business world, in a dating scene, all of those things. They were just so easy. Like, make a nice compliment to somebody. Give somebody a rose. What does that cost you? Nothing. Hey, you're great at this. Like, quit being so self-conscious you can't build other people up. There's enough opportunity in this world. Others do not have to fail for you to succeed. Okay? So don't expect that in life. It will be a detriment to you. Others do not have to fail for you to succeed. Actually, the more you build other people up, the more you succeed. Now, to connect with me, go check out Pedersonsfarms.com. Look us up on Instagram. Pederson's Farms is our page name. We're on Facebook. podcast.pedersonsfarms.com for the podcast. We're telling the story of where your food comes from in a pretty unique way. I interview consumers of our products, customers that we do business with, vendors that support our business, like StreamYard. That's a vendor right now to this podcast that couldn't be done without it, right? So there are vendors in every business that support it, and they're way behind the scenes. Nobody knows about them, but they're important. We want to tell their story because it's big. We interview our employees, so you get to meet people that actually work within our business, and we interview competitors, other people that do bacon, sausage, and ham, and that we think do it in a good way, and we want people to know about it.
Wow.
Man, that's a lot, brother.
Wow. That is jam-packed. Sir, I want to say this to you publicly. Don't ever quit. Don't ever give up. We need what you're doing. We need you to keep pushing this great product out and keep America moving forward and keep Pederson's Farm moving forward. So I thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm not going to quit. Sometimes I think about it. I think we all kind of get down occasionally, but it's just, like you said, just get up every day, go after it, go get them. And you get over that pretty quickly and you realize, hey man, there's no finish line. It's all about going as hard as you can till your day comes.
For sure. Amen. Amen. And let the church say amen. I thank you, sir. And I thank you all for tuning in to the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I hope this was inspirational. I hope this was helpful. I hope this made you hungry like it did me, because I'm definitely starving right now. But thank you all for tuning in. I love you guys. Like I always end every show. Take care of your family. Take care of your business. And always take care of family. This is Marcus Norman, your favorite gentleman, and Mr. Neil Johnny, the cowboy gentleman, signing off. Love you guys. Bye.